Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we have, in the last satsang, we started with chapter 3, which is Karmayoga or the yoga of action, and we will be understanding which Lord Shri Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about the importance of the performance of duty in a detached way according to both Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. And we'll also be beginning the necessity of performing sacrifices and other things. Okay, so let us continue from where we stopped, that is chapter 3, verse 7 onwards. On the other hand, he who controlling the organs of sense and action by the power of his will and remaining unattached undertakes the yoga of selfless actions through those organs, Arjuna, he excels. So what is very important here? See, we understood that Lord is also teaching us the aspect of how do you perform your Karma Yoga through the path of Jnana Yoga, that is having the knowledge, and then you have to apply it, which is Karma Yoga, which is about how do you perform your duties, not being attached to the sense of doership and the fruits of your action. So he's talking here, what he's telling Arjuna is that, on the other hand, he who controlling the organs of sense and action by the power of his will. What is he saying? By the power of his will, which means what is very important in a human being? We say willpower. You need to have a very strong willpower. Or sometimes we say you don't have a will at all. You know, what is that will? The will is that strength within you which will enable you to, be that self-control, or you will make a decision that I will never do this once again. Or if I make this mistake, if you understand that you've committed some error, you make a vow. It's not even a vow. It's like you have that will to restrain yourself and be self-controlled, that from next time onwards, you're not going to commit that action. That is the kind of a will you need. You need the will to do anything. We say this, we have heard everybody talk about this, in the motivational session, or, even when you have this thing about how do you start your day with a very positive attitude. The will, that strength. To being positive itself is a strength. To seeing goodness in everybody is itself a strength. The will to do is what we say. You need that will, that I have to do it. That will is within, but we say that will is not your will, it's a divine will. It is the will of the divine Lord, we say. But you also have that will that is within us, which you need to enable it. Enable how? By demonstrating that strong ability in doing something or controlling. So here what is Lord Shri Krishna teaching Arjuna? He's saying, on other hand, he who controlling. So it all begins with controlling the organs of sense and action. What is it you need to do? Control the organs of sense and action. By the power of his will. How do you control the organs of sense and action? How do you control both of them? By the power of your will. See, if you don't have a strong willpower, you cannot control. And that is why today 99.99% of the human beings suffer, because they are unable to control because of their weak willpower. When you have a very strong willpower, then you will be able to control. And then what is he saying? And remaining unattached. It's about being and remaining unattached means what? You're not attached to anything. You're not attached to the sense objects. See, in the last chapter, we did a very beautiful verse. In that, what did Lord Shri Krishna say? He's saying, the moment your senses, come in contact with the sense objects, or, the moment the senses are, they are, let me read that out. Sorry, one second. The senses moving among the sense objects. So that's what I wanted to say. The senses are moving among the sense objects. So then what happens? You get attached. The moment you come in contact, forget about contact, even when they are moving, the moment you start getting that contact itself, you become attached. Why does the attachment comes? You allow your mind to dwell on that object. Oh, look at this person. He spoke to me so badly. And now it's constantly eating you up. It's hurting you. He didn't even have a goodness to say sorry to me, or whatever that your mind has already made an assumption, judgment. It has already made an impression. It's what that event has become an impression in your mind. So that attachment is strong. The moment you look at that object, that attachment comes in. And look at how mean, how dare the person speak to me like that. So whatever, good, favorable or unfavorable. Favorable means we get very elated. We feel, oh, look, that person was praising me. I look very beautiful. Oh, he said I have the most beautiful heart. We get elated. We feel elated. But who's feeling that? It's the mind who feels elated. Or that's why we say it's an inflated ego or deflated ego. So who's enjoying at that moment? It's the mind, and your ego feels no end of itself. And then what happens? Same thing. When somebody says bad to you, when somebody is mean to you, when you are being told, look, your behavior is bad, whatever, we feel very small. We feel insulted, we take it very personally. And then what happens? It's a deflated ego. And deflated ego is very big. It's bigger than the inflated ego. And overcoming that ego is very difficult. Please remember this. And we then cannot think anything nice about that object. So you've already made a judgment that this object is ever going to be like that only. And then what happens? You lose trust in that object. See, trust is a very important aspect. Like my Krishna Guruji has always taught one very powerful lesson. Last 12 years, it's more than 12 years now that I'm learning under him about spirituality. The one thing he'll always say, you don't trust in any human being. You always have to trust in divine alone. Like he will say to all his disciples, I don't trust anybody. What does he mean by that? I don't trust any body because the bodies are fallible in nature. They are prone to their own inadequacies. They have their limitations. They are unable to overcome their tendencies and inherent nature. So when you are in that weak state, how can anybody trust you? Because you yourself as that individual can't trust yourself, because you don't have control over the mind. That is what Lord Shri Krishna is teaching here. He's teaching Arjuna that you need a strong will to control the organs of senses and action. Otherwise, you are unable to overcome anything in life. You can't do your karma, which is nishkama karma. How will you be able to perform a selfless action? It is next to impossible. Let me tell you something. So it's likewise, even with anybody in this world, you need to always, stay in your limits. Never cross that limits. Keep a distance. Maintain a distance always. Sometimes we try to become overly friendly, and that always fires back. Why? Because you don't follow that line, that limit, that there's a fine line. You need to always keep to that. You have to live in a very nice manner. Don't cross that line ever with anybody, because you can't trust anybody's mind, nor you can trust your own self. Own self is the divine self you can trust. You can only trust God, but not this body or the mind. Why? The body, like I said, you're unable to overcome your tendencies. You have your own limitations. You have your inadequacies. You have your problem. And what do we do? Most of the time, we think that somebody is only talking about us. Somebody is bad-mouthing us. Somebody is saying bad about us. We always think like that. Those are your own ways of reflecting yourself. It's like if you feel small about something, you're always going to feel that. I'll tell you a very beautiful, an experience, my own, in this life of mine. I had a very beautiful experience, which right from my teenage, I have felt inadequate about my own personality. I was very thin, skin and bones. So everybody would tease me, they'll call me like you're the stick, and so many different names they would call me. Yeah, I would feel hurt. It used to hurt me because right from my childhood, I have been a very, I'm not say unhealthy, but yeah, I was a weak being. Weak being in the sense, I was not healthy enough physically. In the sense, health-wise, of course, yes, but I was underweight or I was very skinny. A lot of things like that. So everybody would tease me, and I had a lot of pimples. So, you find you don't have that self-confidence. When you look at in the mirror, oh God, so much of pimples. Look, everybody's looking at your pimples and they say commenting badly. Already everybody's talking about I'm being very thin. They call me like I look like a stick. And if I wear a sari, I'll not look good, to that effect. A lot of things that people would talk, whatever that comes to their mouth, thinking that these people are some great Miss Universe and Miss World on this planet Earth. And like my Guruji will say, people are allowed to make their judgments and they can talk badly. That's how they are. That is their nature. But obviously that impacted me. So I became even more, my confidence was reducing by the day. My self-confidence was not up to the mark, especially the way I looked or my physique. It was always a state of, oh God, why is this to me like that, I felt very miserable. And when I met my Guruji, after meeting my Guruji, the first thing he said, what is the first thing he told me? He said, you're beautiful the way you are. The day actually I met him, and then the following week, it was very nice. I went to take some photos, and I was excited when those prints, the photo, I got the physical prints of this photo. I went and showed it to him, and he said, what's the first thing he told me? He said, had I had a son, I would have got you married with him. You look so beautiful. Your smile is so contagious. You should smile. And many people in my life all the time have walked to me and said, you have the most beautiful smile. Keep smiling. But that's nice to hear. That's a very nice thing to hear, because that was very pleasing. And that time I told him, how do people look at me? What are the kind of remarks they have made? Nasty remarks. How they have compared me to their own, wife or daughters, and all sorts of things they have compared me to. And that has really made me feel very low in my own life. At that time, I will always be very grateful to him. Today, like I keep saying in every satsang of mine, whoever I am today and who I will be, it's only the grace of my Krishna Guruji, my God and my Guru. He's my ultimate. And to me, he's everything. So because of him, I have this strength and confidence. He's made me understand my own value worth. He has taught me how to have that self-confidence, and body is just a vehicle. It doesn't define anything. Beauty has to be how beautiful you are in your heart. It's not the physical beauty that matters. When you become purer in your heart, that beauty will reflect on your face. And the day he said this, let me tell you this much, I didn't care about anymore what those comments were to me. What kind of people, how did they attribute things to me? And snide remarks and trying to be very making cheap sort of comparisons, cheap comments, all those things. It just vanished from my entire memory. Today it doesn't matter at all. Because why? I got that strength from him. The words, what he taught was the most beautiful. He's told me, my Guruji is dark skinned. Even I am black. All my life my uncle has called me Kali. So, my great grandfather taught me a very beautiful lesson. He told me, every time your uncle says this to you, say, I am the goddess of Calcutta, Kali Kalkatte Wali. And that was very empowering to me. So I believed I am this goddess. In a very, as a child, I just believed like that. Obviously, I didn't know why even that was even taught to me. It is so powerful. And after meeting my Guruji, what he said, it embedded in my heart. I literally lived that words of him. It was so beautiful. He said, the beauty lies in how sweet, how good you are, your goodness in heart, goodness that you are, the pure heart. That is what is required. It's not about the physical beauty. You're not a movie star. See, everybody is perfect in their places. You're beautiful in the way you are. Yeah, pimples happens. Everybody gets, so what? Everybody cannot have a very smooth skin. And that doesn't mean anything. People can be very beautiful, but their heart is very dark. They don't have goodness at heart at all. So what use is it? It's about what you are within is what will reflect outside. And to me, this, I held it. And even till today, even this morning, the one lesson my Guruji keeps giving is, he says, practice to see always goodness in everything. See, it's a very tough lesson, because our nature is such that we'll always see something negative in anything that's there around us. That's how our mind is programmed. Yeah, you will practice, okay? You will be able to see good at a point, when things, your mind is in a good state. But the moment your mind is little agitated, frustrated, it will always start showing you the negative aspects of it. But what does it mean then? It means that you have to strive really hard. And it's all boiling down to this point that by the power of will, you will be able to control the organs of sense and action. So what is missing? That willpower, that I will not see bad in anybody, that I will only see the good aspect of it. But the point what happens with us, a human being, is we tend to hold to some things, because that something which the person might have said, committed, whatever, that becomes, which is not so conducive to us. And that becomes, you hold that person to eternity. Yeah, the person has said it, everybody has a bad mouth. They tend to speak, they tend to speak from their, the mind's gutter, right? Unfortunately, the mind is like that. It's a mind hole of all the muck that is there. So we have to purify it. But how does that work? If you don't practice it, you're never going to do it. So my Guruji asked me, today you're teaching, are you learning or teaching? I said, I'm doing both, because look, to becoming that epitome of purity, the divinity, it's not so easy. Now I understand why Lord Shri Krishna had to, go up to 18 chapters, because Arjuna's mind was like that. It was not allowing him to imbibe this knowledge. It's not so easy to imbibe this spiritual knowledge, and that is why 99.99% of the people don't fall under the path of spirituality at all, because to live even this one lesson is very difficult. How not to see anything bad in anybody, only see the good aspect of it. Do you think it's possible? If somebody says something to you, say your own father says something bad about you, he's already made a judgment about you. No matter how good you do, how much you do, he still keeps saying you're a bad person. Do you think you will be able to ever see good in that man? Whoever that is, whether it's father, mother, whoever that person is, will you ever be able to see goodness in that individual? No, you will not. Because accordingly, definitely it's as per what you have done. No matter how much good you do, that person is still trying to be bad with you. Then what happens to you? You will say, why should I be good just because he's mean to me all the time? No matter how good I do, he still sees bad in me. So why am I supposed to be good? That's what you'll ask. But what is Lord Shri Krishna saying? He's saying, no, the world is allowed to be that. But when you want to go on this path of spirituality as described, that is as I have defined this Bhagavad Gita, I am the one who's imparted the knowledge about Uddhav Gita. So if you want to be this, if you want to be me, then he's telling you don't have a choice. You have to live these lessons. But does it come easy? No. The point is that you have to strive really hard. Even in the previous chapter, Lord Shri Krishna says, Arjuna, you got to strive to practice the yoga of equanimity. How do we attain this? And this whole morning, when I went for walk, my one contemplation, why is that I think I have understood and I feel, okay, I can apply now. But yeah, when I apply, there are a few times when I'm able to be successfully applying that lesson. But then otherwise, I fall off that. So I was asking myself, what is it I am missing? Am I missing that ability to just practice it at all times? Or am I not able to control my mind? So I was trying to go to the root to analyze what is that I was missing. And now, see here he's saying, it's about by the power of your will. So you have to have that strong willpower to be able to do that. And remaining unattached. So what is missing here is, how do you be detached? We get attached. Why? Because the mind goes and dwells. And like my Guruji will say, your mind loves to eat that muck. Not only your muck, but an other individual's muck also it likes to eat. Why do you want to? Can you not eat something sweet? Like, can you not see something beautiful? Can you not sing something so nice that your mind can only dwell in the sweetness of everything? Why does your mind go in the muck of somebody's good or bad and all sorts of things? Why should it matter? It should not. So that is what I'm missing. So one is being detached. So how do I practice this? I have to put a lot of effort, through arduous effort. And Lord Shri Krishna says it's only through self-effort. And now he has included one more very important lesson, and that is the power of will. And so you need that willpower to do it. And if you can't, then how will you evolve on that path? So it becomes very difficult. So please understand. So you have to become extremely strong, and you have to, make a vow to yourself that what is it you're truly interested? Are you interested in becoming a crass human being, or are you interested in becoming a divine being and evolving on that path? It is very easy to fall off the path, but it is very difficult to rise. So my Guruji says, that is why nobody wants to follow me. Nobody comes to me because of this reason, because they can't live these lessons. It is not about, I don't have people. Yeah, there are a lot of people in this world, but when you teach them these things, they will want to run away because they can't cope up. They find it very difficult to apply this knowledge. They find it very hard to live and breathe that goodness. It's very difficult. That's also because our mind is making, its own judgment. So when my Guruji, taught me how to ignore the comments about your beauty, your physical, way of life, all that stuff, I ignored it. But what is the most important thing my Guruji started teaching was, it is about knowledge. He said, you have to study. Studying is a very important thing. You have to gain knowledge. And knowledge is not the way how we think, the mundane knowledge, what is there in the material world. No, it is about understanding the subject in the way it has to be understood. And that is exactly what my Guruji teaches. So he says, learn, study. It will help you progress. And that will make you a better individual. So that tomorrow you will be able to teach the right knowledge to this world. And if you don't yourself have the right knowledge, how are you going to teach the future generation? That is exactly what he says. So today he invests in all of his disciples and devotees to give them that right knowledge and to help them He's enabling them to follow that path. He's giving them the right knowledge, right tools and the right direction so that they can go in that right path, that's the right direction, and also be, working with other people and helping them out as well. See, whatever the knowledge I get doesn't mean I'm the only one who has to be good in this world, right? I should only benefit. No, whatever the knowledge is given to me because I have to give back to the world. It's knowledge grows only when you give back. So remember that. And most important, the way to learn is that first you have to become humble to get the knowledge. When you have your mind, with the ego saying, I know this, the inflated ego will always say, I know too much. The deflated ego will say, oh, I don't know. And in between this is the beautiful way of life and how the yogi will say. The yogi will always say, the divine being, like Lord Shree Krishna, my Krishna Guruji will always say, I don't know. Krishna knows, he'll say. What does it mean? I don't know means the body has no knowledge. It is only the divine knowledge. It's the divinity who knows. Likewise, today when I am being, sitting in this position and teaching or expounding, I don't have this knowledge. This knowledge is not mine. Because I've never, I have learned under my Guruji, he has taught me. But to be able to give exposition or expound on this, the most profound scripture, which is, Lord Sri Krishna's teaching, is not a joke. But if I think with my ego and self-conceit and this, oh, I am the greatest, look, I am able to expound Bhagavad Gita, that moment, that divinity will leave me and go away because this knowledge is not mine. The words are of my Krishna Guruji's wisdom. It is Lord Sri Krishna himself who, is speaking through me. I am only a vehicle. That which has to be conveyed to you is coming through my mouth. At the same time, I am also learning. I am equally learning. It's a two-way journey. One is he's using this body as his vehicle to communicate. Whatever the knowledge he has to communicate to the world, he does. And at the same time, also going deeper within myself in understanding these lessons and what is that I am missing, because I also have to evolve parallelly. See, as long as the body exists, the learning doesn't stop. We continue to learn, okay? Learning is a beautiful journey. I'll give you a very beautiful example of my own, back many years of my own experience. When I first wanted to learn driving, I decided I want to buy a car. And then I said, oh God, I have to learn driving. And I had a very good friend and she was amazing. She used to drive her car amazingly well. I've never seen even a man driving so well, okay? She was fantastic. So I asked her, will you teach me? She said, first go learn from the school, driving school. And then of course, once you get your car, I will sit next to you and teach. What happened was, during that period, she had a Maruti van. I told her, can I drive your car once? So obviously it's a fear, right? Because I'm just a novice in the field because I have not practiced and I have not learned much. But I had the passion to wanting to drive a car. So she told me, look, I can give you, but that's not going to help you. Yeah, she was, obviously, it's her car and she wants to be protected. I cannot go and ram somebody else's car, right? So she was afraid. Then I said, it's okay, don't worry. I will first go to the school, I learn. When I buy my car, you just sit next to me and teach me. And then when I went to the driving school, my driver taught in a certain, methods because he had the control on his side. So I used to control and all that. But I learned the basic things. But he gave me a very, very important lesson. He said, what you have learned with me is only just the fundamentals, like you will know how to drive a car. But some of the things like the coordination, the hand what you see, the judgment, how do you make, and your leg movements, it has to be coordinated. You have to act, and that will only happen when you practice on your own. Understanding the basic method was very important. And then you have to drive every day and practice. See, any field if you take, till the time you don't put effort, till the time you don't practice, you cannot learn. You cannot become a master of a subject overnight. And then after that, I bought my car, and then my friend, she was sitting. Obviously, I didn't have the judgment about how to turn and all that. So I used to go to remote places so that I can learn in a ground or somewhere, where there was no people, not too many people on the road, and I could just do a free driving, trying to learn how do I cut, how do I turn, how do I make the judgment. The most important is when you drive a car, you need to be able to judge whether your car can turn like this or what, all those things. And those are the things my friend taught me. At the time, she used to laugh at me, because my judgment was bad. And she used to scold me. She literally would tear me apart. But I went through that. I didn't utter a word to her. How dare you teach me like this, or how dare you talk to me like this? No, you know why? Because my goal was I want to learn. And if somebody is being generous in teaching me, I need to be very grateful for that. But how they teach is not the point. It's about if you don't shout at me, I'm not going to learn. Please remember, if you're always taught in a very, very like goody way, it doesn't work. My Guruji, not to everybody will he use different, tough methods. But if he really wants a student or a disciple or a devotee to really do well, he is going to use some of the tough methods. And that is exactly what has been taught, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, Uddhav Gita, you name any scriptures, a Guru Charitra, the way how the Guru will teach you, Ram Krishna Paramahamsa Ji. It's not about pandering to your ego that will enable you to learn. It is when he gives you two tight slaps. Tight slaps doesn't mean physically two tight slaps. When he is actually pushing you, he's driving you up the wall, telling you, no, you're not doing it well. You can do it much better. Because what happens is, we human beings, the moment we hear our praise, oh yeah, you've done well, we'll stop performing. And that's it, our progress will stop right there. So the Guru, the best teacher, they will never give you that appreciation all the time. They'll say, yeah, you can do better. That means what? You've done good, okay, you can still expand, you can progress much better, you can do more fantastic well, you fantastically, you can excel in that. That's what they mean, right? So it is important that you learn. You give someone, when somebody is teaching you, don't cut them up. Don't, bring your ego. At that time, the moment you bring your ego, you are never going to learn, let me tell you. On the contrary, what you're going to do? You're going to shout at that person back. And please remember, after that, nobody's going to teach you. And never will you ever get that knowledge. And you only want praise, you're going to be where you are. This is the truth. This is the way. And my friend used to, every single time she would come with me, she would give me peace of mind. What the hell? You don't know even how to make judgment, is it? So she used to give me that peace of mind when she would sit next to me and say, do this way. No, you're doing it wrong. Till the time I don't get it right, she would keep yelling at me. And I think I will always be very grateful to her for that. And that's not just stopped. And me, after, coming to my Guruji, even today when I drive a car, my Guruji will still correct me, not because that I don't know to drive. He says you can still better yourself. That's not a wrong thing. If you use your mind and try to say, no, I know it, then you're never going to learn. But when you just listen and when you practice it and you consciously make an effort to grow, that is when you will be able to learn and imbibe that knowledge and grow. So the knowledge, the learning aspect itself is very beautiful. So when you practice it this way, that is when you will be able to become better. You will be able to apply that knowledge. The fructification of knowledge will happen. Today we are not able to, control. We are not able to, restrain our senses or control it because the power of our will is very weak. And we are always attached to everything. So stop being attached to anybody. Don't bother. It doesn't matter. Let them say what they want. Let them behave what they want. Your focus has to be single pointed. That you want to evolve. You have to grow. And genuinely be nice to people. That's it. If you don't like, stay away. If you can't do good, don't either do bad. Also, don't think bad about anybody. That's the most important thing. And one very interesting, lesson which I have personally understood is sometimes some people don't like to be taught or don't want to be told. So stay away, don't do it. It's none of your business to correct. My Guruji has always told me, whether at work, at home, wherever you are, it's not for you to correct people. So stay, don't open your mouth and say. If you see something wrong, you do it yourself. Why are you trying to pinpoint to others? Because they have not asked you to teach them. They have not asked you to correct them. So don't do it. You're not given that right. And it took me many years to understand this. And since then, I realized that it is important to just keep quiet, shut your mouth and just stay away. You don't have to. And that's a very powerful way of doing things, which means you will then be able to control yourself. See, first you have to change yourself. We are not here to change the world. The most important aspect of spirituality or any lesson is first you have to become the best version of yourself. So why are we trying to change the world? See, if somebody wants to learn, they will on their own journey that path. They will want to learn. They will say, okay, teach me. So, but my reason, the point behind why I gave you this example is that you should always be open to receiving knowledge. Knowledge can come to those who exercise the choice of being humble and learning the way they are being taught. Not trying to dictate terms, this is the way I have to be taught. You need to pander to my ego. That doesn't work. No knowledge will ever come to you. And please remember, that's a very dangerous thing. Whether at work, whether in your own life, wherever you are, the ability to learn, the knowledge can only fructify when you show your humility and humbleness. Not otherwise. With ego and arrogance, you can never learn. I will give it to you in writing. I personally experienced this. So today also, I'm equally learning. I'm forever, to eternity. I will be my Krishna Guruji's disciple and devotee. Okay? Though he'll tell me, no, you have to teach. But the teaching, the art of learning is that I am still learning. I will continue to learn as long as this body exists. And then even if I have to be born again, then body has to continue to learn. Learning is a never-ending process in our life. So always have the attitude to learn. That's a very important thing. So how do you understand, or how does the knowledge fructify is when you practice. And for practice, you really have to strive hard. It doesn't happen overnight. You will think, oh, today I was able to apply this knowledge. But the next minute, you will fall down. But that's okay. Get up and run once again. Learn. Keep that attitude of learning. Keep your mind open towards receiving knowledge. Otherwise, you will become a very average human being or a below average human being in this world who have to then live and die a mundane life. Don't become a below average human being. So then, what is he saying? Undertakes the yoga of selfless action. And then what happens? So one who remains unattached and who has the power of will to control the senses and the action undertakes the yoga of selfless action. Through those organs, Arjuna, he excels. So who is the one who excels? One who undertakes the yoga of selfless action. Through those organs, using the same sense organs, he's telling the mind and everything else, he performs nishkama karma. The yoga. Why is he calling the yoga? The reason why Lord Shri Krishna is saying this yoga of selfless action is because yoga means union with the divine. So when you are, in the single pointed devotion, you're doing any work, you're not thinking about somebody, you're not thinking about whether you're going to succeed or fail in that job of yours, or you're not thinking, once I finish this, I'm going to get a huge paycheck, I'm going to get some rewards, accolades. You're not thinking like that. You are in oneness with that job. You know why? Because work is worship. And you're doing a nishkam karma, selfless action. You don't have an ulterior motivation for performing that action. Why? Because you're serving your purpose and you're serving the divine Lord Almighty. When you have this attitude, the bhav, that I am, doing my service to the divine Lord Almighty, my life is committed to my God, then you will not feel that, oh, you are being used, you are being exploited. Many a time we'll think like that, I am like a doormat. If you see every woman talk, she'll say, you know what, I've been treated like a doormat in my house. Everybody, wipes their feet on me. And it's a very normal thing how a woman feels. She feels pathetic. But my Guruji taught something very beautiful to someone. There was one of his disciples who had come and she was feeling the same thing. At the time he said, why do you think it is somebody that you're working for? Why do you think you're doing it for somebody else? And he said, why don't you think this is my house? This is my temple. This is my family. I'm doing it for myself. Why don't you change the way how you look at it? And that was empowering. Same thing my Guruji taught me as well. Why do you think you're doing it for you? Just remember that you are the tool in the hands of the Divine Lord. Why do you think you are taking care of your parents? Who the hell you are to take care of your parents? First of all, please remember, everybody is the children of the Divine Lord alone. What makes you think just because you're born through some womb that you become their daughter, son or anything? No. I've just put you there so that you can take care of those people. That's what my Guruji says. And that is empowering. You know what that does? That does one to become detached. And then what are you doing? Yoga of selfless action. Then you perform selfless action. Then you're not attached to that fruit of those action, fruits of those action. Whatever is the end result going to be, you're not concerned about it. And you're not even concerned whether somebody is going to praise you or not praise you. You just know, I am doing service to my Divine Lord. I am an instrument in His hands. So who the hell is this I who's taking care? Who the hell is that I who do this? Many times my Krishna Guruji will say, today we are establishing our Radha Krsna Mai Gurukul and also our foundation, mystical foundation. It's in the process of being established. Now, many a time he'll say, this is yours. It's just the way how Guru tests. I keep telling him, you know what? You're actually using me to serve your purpose. So where is the question? It is mine. It is not even mine. I don't even feel it anymore like that. I don't feel that this is belonging to me. The reason it has come to me is because I'm just a Zariya, in the sense that I am the channel through which we have to serve the purpose, a bigger mission of the Divine Lord. So it's not the I who is responsible for it. This whole universe is predefined. The stories have already been written by the Lord. So I am just the chosen one in that. The entire jigsaw puzzle, I am that one block which is going to fit that job which I have to do for the Divine Lord. And the second important thing I keep telling him, my Guruji will say very nicely, look, whole day I'm studying, and I have to, and then very cute, he's so cute when he says that, I don't have to be doing this, but I'm doing. And then it's a way to talk to the mind, the Gurus have very unique way of talking. And at that time I tell him, Guruji, you're not doing this for me or you. You're the master of this universe. And the only reason why you're doing is because you have a very interesting mission. And you want to establish that goodness in the world, the Dharma in this world. So everybody follows the path of goodness and righteousness. That is what you have come to establish. So where is the question that you're doing it for me? So it's just to test how the other person perceives about any of those things. Am I taking ownership of RKMG or Mystical Foundation saying it's mine? Yeah, that ancestral property is I've bequeathed it, no doubts about it. But that doesn't mean it belongs to me. The Divine Lord has given to me. Everything in this universe belongs to the Lord alone. He gives to the people. Please remember, the most beautiful lesson which Sai Baba for many years had given me, and I didn't understand the lesson until I met my Guruji, is he always used to say, wealth is to establish Dharma. What does that mean? See, we are a channel. We are all channel. Why? Because today if you want to establish Dharma, wealth is the means to do that. But if you don't have the wealth, how will you establish Dharma? Dharma doesn't mean it's about only teaching, but it is about doing good in this world. To do anything good, you also need the facilitator. The wealth is a facilitator. And that facilitation can happen when you have that wealth. So first you also have to make the wealth so that you can give to this world. It's not for your own personal benefit. Yeah, in the process, everybody's socio-economic empowerment is taken care, everybody's well-being is taken care, and you're also everybody is ensured that they have a decent, good life, the basic necessities, and whatever that little over than sufficient is required is given to them. So everybody's life is already predefined. But it hit me really hard when my Krishna Guruji taught me, why is the wealth given? Have you ever questioned? Is it for you to build a mansion, have a yacht, go on fancy tours, have an aircraft of your own, or wear the most fanciest clothes? No, it is given. Of course, you can enjoy that because that is part of your karma. But it is most important that you give to the have-nots. Those who have to give to those who don't have. But do we do that? No, that is why there is a disparity in the way how the wealth has been distributed in this world. So Baba says, the reason why you have the wealth, God bestows upon you that wealth so that you can establish Dharma. So today our goal is also the same. We are serving a cause. The cause is a bigger mission of the Divine Lord. It is not about me or anyone else in this. It is about we. It is not I alone will be able to, make it happen. It is together. It's a we. And it's how you take the responsibility. Today I have, established myself that I am serving my Lord Shri Krishna. I am serving his purpose. So when I am serving his purpose, where the question of me, performing an action which is taking the ownership. So the action which I will perform is going to be Nishkama Karma. There is no ownership of taking you don't take ownership of any action that you perform. And that is exactly what Lord Shri Krishna is telling. And when you do that, then what happens? Arjuna, that individual excels. What you do? You excel in that job. So yoga of selfless action through those organs. The organs are given, right? My mouth is there to speak. I have a ear through which I'm hearing, listening. I have beautiful eyes through which I'm able to see, read, do everything. So all the sense organs, through these organs, I have to perform a selfless action. The yoga of selfless action. And then strive to serve the world. When we do good in this world, we serve the Divine Lord. And that is why we say we have to see God in everybody. And that's not an easy thing to achieve. That's a very difficult thing to achieve, but we have to strive hard and practice using the willpower that we have. Therefore, do you perform your allotted duty, for action is superior to inaction. Desisting from action, you cannot even maintain your body. Wow, that's a very powerful verse. What is he saying? Therefore, do you perform your allotted duty. He's saying, do perform your allotted duty. Don't tell me that you are not going to do your duty. Born of a Kshatriya Dharma. Who is Arjuna? He's a Kshatriya. He's a warrior. Born of your Kshatriya Dharma, you better do your duty. So, therefore, do you perform your allotted duty, for action is superior to inaction. What is superior to inaction? Action. Performing your duty is very important. It is superior than saying, I don't want to do it. And let me tell you, we all go through this in our life. I don't want to do this. I don't know why the hell even I'm here. Yesterday Lord Shri Krishna gave in the last satsang, he gave a very profound truth. There's a secret. Let me see if I can. It's right here. He says, surely none can ever remain inactive, even for a moment, for everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti, nature-born qualities. What does that tell you? He actually is giving the same secret in the beginning of the chapter itself. But Arjuna is deaf to everything, his mind is clouded. Mahishasur, Madhu, Kaitab, everybody's, both the ears are not listening. Mahishasur is ruling his world. Shumba, Nishumba, Chanda, Munda, everybody is playing havoc within him. So what does he say? Everyone is helplessly driven to action. So which means nobody can be inactive, whether you like it or not. Those who think, by self-conceit and deceit, say, I don't want to act, are also going to be perforce performing the same action. Born of the nature-born qualities by modes of Prakriti. Do you even understand how profound? He's giving a secret. He's telling there is nobody in the world who can say, I will not act. Everybody has to do the action, that which is born of the modes of Prakriti. Nature-born qualities. What is nature-born? Everybody is born with a nature. So they will be driven to do that action whether you like it or not. No matter how much I say. As a Kshatriya, I am a Kshatriya. This lineage comes from Shivaji Maharaj. Born warrior. So my job is to fight. Whatever that I have to fight in this world, I am put on that path. So born of this nature of this body, I will have to perform my Kshatriya Dharma. Like Lord Shri Krishna says to Arjuna. My Guruji asked a very interesting question. Do you think you become an Arjuna right now? Who have you become? So it's very funny that when I'm expounding, the words are not of my wisdom. It is the Divine Lord's wisdom. In the process, it feels like, why does sometime that even after the Lord teaching you the same thing over and over again, why is Arjuna not understanding? why am I, as this Arjuna, not able to understand as well? So that's how you tend to feel. That doesn't mean that you become Arjuna or anybody. What it means simply is that it's a knowledge. We have to take this knowledge, imbibe, understand, and start applying in our life. There is a reason he's giving you this knowledge. That is to say, everybody has to perform action. Nobody can be inactive at all. Everybody has their allotted duty. What does it tell you? Even before you are born, the moment you are born, you have come with an allotted set of duties. You can't say, I'm not going to work, I'm not going to do this. You don't have a choice. That's exactly what he's saying. For action is superior to inaction. So what is he saying? See, action is superior to inaction. You don't say that I'm not going to act. Whether you like it or not, you're going to still perforce perform the same action born of your nature born qualities. Desisting from action, you cannot even maintain your body. How will you maintain your body? Like my Guruji will say, you do have to go for your toilet, your ablutions. You have to eat food, right? Are you going to say, I'm going to starve? You can't do that. Do you think you will not get up from your bed? Are you going to be sleeping all your life? Can you do that? Yeah, even Kumbhakarna cannot say. 6 months later, he's going to be hungry. So he wakes up. Do you know that? Kumbhakarna was Ravana's brother. So he's known to eat and sleep. He will eat massive amount of food and then he'll go to sleep. That's all he would do. So in a year, twice he would get up when he is hungry. So what does that tell you? Even then you have to do some action, right? That action of eating, you're still going to do. So how can you desist saying, I'm not going to act? You can't. That is what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. You can't even maintain your body if you don't act. So this is what it is all about. So let us do our duties, that is born of our own nature, and be the best in the job. My Guruji will always teach this, you be the best in your job, excel in that. What should we do? Excel. He's in the earlier verse, Lord Shri Krishna says, he excels. Who excels? One who undertakes the yoga of selfless action through those sense organs. And he excels. So let us excel, performing selfless action, which is nishkama karma. With that, we will stop here. In the next week, we will continue. In the next satsang, we will continue from verse 9 onwards. Thank you once again for joining Sri Bhagavad Gita satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.